think the first major change that I remember came very soon, but not soon enough, because we had to have our office built out. And so they had to gut what was there before, the old tenant, and then built ours out new from the ground up. And everything went smooth and construction was done in plenty of time. But lo and behold, we didn't have any furniture when we moved in. So we had to go down to, Office Depot or something. And we bought about a dozen plastic card tables and set them up. And that was our desk and our furniture for about the first month till the furniture.
Yeah. We got the space where Keisha and Courtney sit now. We got that first. I think that came in within a couple weeks of us opening pretty quickly. But your guys' desk in the office I think it took more like 6 weeks. It took a while. And you guys were working on plastic gray folding tables that we put in little L shapes. You guys had work.
The furniture company felt kind of bad that they couldn't meet our schedule. So, and we didn't have chairs. We didn't have working like desk chairs. So, and we had a conference room and we're conducting business, and they gave us some old chairs they had laying around. And in our very first mediation, the mediator drove all the way from Jackson, and he sat down in the chair for our first official function in our conference room, and the chair collapsed under him and he fell on the floor.
Well, and we had Tom's office now, we had as our playroom for my kids and Riley. And I remember they hadn't stained the doors yet. And so we're like, oh, we should be fine to work. And my kids were there, at least Jack. I don't know if Megan was, but at least Jack was there playing in the playroom when they're staining those doors. And the smell was so horrible. Like, we should never have been there.
Yeah, remember we had that zebra tent in Tom's office for all. And so kids of clients would come in and go in there. And so would, Riley, who would visit once a week. And it's just funny to think about how the office was back then. Yeah. It felt so big to me, like how are we ever going to fill all these offices?
Yeah, it was like so empty.
And then 2 years later, we had to expand, and we added another 2,500 feet.
Right.
Expand. But kids were always a central role, because, I mean, look at all the kids. How many kids
have been born?
Well, I was the only one who had kids when we opened. I mean, Dave and Leslie had their granddaughter Riley, and then I had my two. So we have Sarah's 3, Stephanie's 2,
Linda's 1.
Linda had 1.
Linda had 1. She already had one before.
Brianne had 2.
We had Brianne, who,
had 1.
Well, she had 1, and then
one in the oven.
Don't you remember? I would bring Atticus in some afternoons and just sit at my computer, and he would just sleep at my computer when I was here working. But I also remember Dave wheeling him around on the hoverboard as well. So.
Yeah. I remember the day, I think I was in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, or maybe it was my office, I see Dave on the hoverboard and Jack's on his shoulders. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem safe, but okay.
It wasn't long afterwards that, you won Velma's case, right? How long have we been open?
I think it was June of that year.
Yeah,
3 months.
3 months. Yeah.
Right after we opened, Sarah and I were registered to attend a trial lawyers school, basically, that's held every year in Boston. So we went to that, and it's like a week, and it's intense, and it was great. And then we came back, and we basically jumped right into trial and got a almost $18 million verdict, which set a record in the state at that time. So we'd been open maybe 3 months then, and that gave us a really good running start, and has built from there. But just this core right here set the pace really for the office and what we do, and Stephanie and how she puts these cases together just so expertly, and Michelle managing basically everything from computers to scheduling to my practice, Sarah's practice, and half of everyone else's practice, and she does about 4 or 5 full-time jobs, and Sarah just litigating and managing, and Leslie, who came to help out with the books for 6 months 7 years ago. So it's been a course that I think is more meaningful than just having a law firm. At least it is to me, and I think it is to you guys too, in just the way that what I see, how you guys care about the place, you care about the people and the culture and the clients. That kind of commitment is really unusual. Really wonderful. Definitely tell them about when I took you out for the walk to Starbucks and invited you to come with us. Tell about that.
So I had been working for you, 6 months or so at that point, and was working insane, getting a lot done. It was just learning a ton in that period. But Dave asked me to take a walk to Starbucks, and I'm like, what? I thought, this is bizarre, just something we've never done before, but okay. And the entire time I kept thinking it was a Friday. I had asked to leave early, I think, for the first time because I was going up to Traverse City for the weekend, and I thought, oh no, maybe I'm getting fired. Approached with this dream and this thought of opening our own firm, and it was amazing. And it was a little scary at first because I felt like, gosh, I've only been here a little bit. It felt like a risk, but looking back 7 years, like, it's the biggest reward I think professionally I could have ever asked for.
And how is it possible that we have not yet gotten sick of each other? Yeah, I don't see how that's possible.
For me, there was no question when Dave asked me. It was like, okay. I mean, I didn't really even have a second thought in my head. I had worked, for years for other attorneys, and I knew we had something unique and special in our team. As soon as, I joined with Dave and Sarah, and then Stephanie joined us a few months later, I knew we had something that I've never had before at any place I'd ever worked. But I just knew that, they had both him and Sarah had a different outlook on the way clients should be treated, coworkers should be treated, and it was a unique model in our team even before he did this venture. So once he came to me and said, this is what I'm doing, do you want to come? It was like, of course. There was no doubt in my mind. It's a testament that most of the people that have been here, for a relatively very young company, even at 7 years, we're still pretty young. People come and they want to stay, and they love our culture. And I hear a lot from the other staff on how it's so different, like I did. It was so different from any place I'd ever worked. Between Dave and Leslie and Sarah, they just set this environment that is, I don't even know if you can duplicate it. And I know it starts with, the core of us from the beginning, and we had, especially Dave, had very certain expectations of how he wanted us to be a different type of culture. And I think we've clearly continued that as we've grown. And I think it shows with clients, it shows with coworkers, alike. So I feel pretty fortunate.
I think I think it's been a learning curve for us too, because at the firm that we were at before, there was not a lot of support for working women, working mothers. And then we came over here and we had young families and we had moms having children and struggling to figure out the work-life balance. And I think that our focus has shifted from like, we want a really great place for people to work where we take care of our clients to we are going to do everything to support the people that we have, because the people that we have are the very best at what they do. And we're going to support them in any way we can, whether it be, you know, single moms, babies, young children, older children, people with health issues. We have a lot of family members with health issues. And when you support your people in any way possible and they feel valued and they know that you care about them, it just makes the firm culture that much stronger. It makes the work that much stronger because people care about what they're putting out for work, and they care about our clients. But if you care about your people, they care about you too.
Funny how that works. It's really pretty simple.
Dave had talked for a while about wanting to start a firm. And I just said, well, just do it. You know, I was kind of more just do it. And I think he had to get to the point of where he was ready to do that. And when it came, he, you know, of course he said, just come help me for a little while. I just need to get up and going. And I knew, because I knew Stephanie, I knew Sarah, I knew Michelle, and I was so happy that they were going to be there, because Dave is a big picture guy and he needs people around him, really good people, to make it all come true. And I knew that they had the same ethos as what Dave and Sarah had thought about in terms of the culture of a firm. I guess that was probably the biggest thing I heard from Dave. The work he knew would always come, but the culture you had to create and sustain. And so that has been the thing that has been, I wouldn't say it's been difficult, but it has been a focus, you know, to create all of that. And to find the people that fit in that, you know, so because we grew pretty quickly, and so we had to find people, attorneys and staff. And I would say we have now found I think the right combination of people, you know, and it didn't have to be that they were all the same. It wasn't that, but that they had to have the same vision of how they would treat clients and treat each other. And I think that for people that didn't fit in on that, they kind of weaned themselves out. And I think we now have people who are really focused in the same way that we are. It's really rewarding to do the work, and to do the work with Dave. You know, that was something we had never done before, probably in our marriage, you know, probably couldn't have done before. But we were in a place where neither one of us had to be right. And that was a big part of it. And also that we had our own lanes of, I would do the accounting side of things and he would do the lawyering side of things. And that made a big difference. So we didn't have to overlap that way. I think my most memorable moment is Dave texted me 1.7.9, and this was Velma's trial, and I'm like, he's got to have that wrong. That cannot be true. He put the point in the wrong place, because I couldn't believe they'd won 17.9 million, and we just back at the office just erupted. Nobody could believe it. And then when both of them walked in, that was just like a great moment, really good moment.
I remember sitting there when the jury verdict was coming in, for the Dorado trial, and I was trying to write down on my copy of the verdict form what the foreperson was reading for the numbers, but I couldn't write fast enough, and then I couldn't add fast enough, and we got done, and Dave's like, how much was that? How much? And I'm like, I don't know. 17 million, that can't be right. And we were just in total shock. But then, all joking aside, I will never ever forget when that trial ended and the jury hung around and came over to us, and they were all crying, and they were all hugging our client, and just like seeing how badly they wanted to take care of her. Like that was what that whole trial was for. And I will just never forget the way that she had affected them and touched them so deeply.
Well, and let's not forget that Dave had to argue with the judge to not settle for $900,000 before.
Yeah, he told us we weren't going to ring the bell that trial.
Yeah.
Ding dong.
Told us at the beginning, Dave, I don't think you're really going to do great with this case. You should settle it. You know, when I'm trying to think of what is among the most memorable moments, there really are so many, and many of the same things that people have said. But this past year has been very interesting and memorable in a lot of ways, and in good ways and challenging ways. This past year of being in COVID, our business was way off. People weren't driving, so new cases slowed way down. And we kept chugging along. We were determined that we were going to keep everybody employed, and we were not going to lay anybody off because of COVID. And that was really important. But during this year, to see how people's energy got channeled into community needs, and it turns out, we have staff that they're really into this particular charity, or they're really into this particular nonprofit, and this all came together in the last quarter of the year 2020, to where we were spending a tremendous amount of time and energy on supplying things for the homeless, and doing this and doing so many different things. And we've always, had a significant amount of energy in helping people in the community, and we do our safe ride home and things like that. But it just went to a whole new level this year, and to see the commitment that all of our people had and have was really something I'll never forget. And in our office, for towards the end of the year, it looked like a nonprofit, full of bags for the homeless, bags of clothes and care kits and things like that. And it was just amazing to me, and I won't forget that. And I imagine that that's going to be something that we get relived each year, even though we'll be back fully at work, I'm sure, towards the last quarter of this year. But just to see that kind of love and that kind of commitment from people really, really inspires me.
It's hard to really pinpoint memorable moments. And I mean, of course, there's big verdicts, there's good settlements for the clients that make them happy. But to me, it's getting a phone call afterwards from a client just thanking you for saving their life, for helping them in ways that they never thought possible. Getting baby clothes from a client, a year later. When just the relationship that we have established with many of our clients that's memorable to me. That's made the biggest impact, is who we are to these people and their hardest time.
Ever since I started practicing with Dave, he has had a concentration or focus on brain injury cases. And what that has meant for us was trying to fully understand the implications that even what is referred to as a mild traumatic brain injury has on a person's life. So we've spent a lot of time with that. And the reason that we have to do that is because when we go to trial, we have to be able to show a jury that this person who can walk and talk and sit in front of them and tell their own story has suffered tremendous losses, even if it's not something that you can feel in 5 minutes of hearing them speak. So we've spent a lot of time learning how to best describe that and tell those stories to the jury so that they can feel the person's losses. And I think that we have been really successful at doing that, and how we prepare for trial and how we work the cases as they're getting ready to go to trial and throughout litigation. Fast forward 10 years later, and our connection with brain injury has deepened. My son has cerebral palsy as a result of having a hemispherectomy brain surgery. So his was not a traumatic brain injury, but it is an acquired brain injury as the result of his surgery and having seizures. So I think that we just feel so deeply for what families with these catastrophic injuries are going through. And we represent people that range from a mild traumatic brain injury to moderate to severe traumatic brain injuries. And we have to know the science and the medicine behind brain injury, but we also have to, most importantly, be able to tell the story.
So one of the things that we needed to do in our office was to put art up on the walls. And I happen to love doing that kind of work. And what I thought was, I wanted to do a collection, and a collection, a sort of a curated collection. And I was thinking about what could that be? And it just seemed to make sense to me to support the types of people that we represent. So I went looking for art that was created by brain injured people. And it was not that easy to find, but in our view, in our looking around, we did find two places particularly. One is called The Experience, and that's up the Art Experience, which is up in Pontiac. And the other one was Studio West, which is out in Brighton. And so what we've done is take that kind of art, and it's vibrant. It is an expression of people who can't always talk in more normal terms, but it is their view of their world. And I just love it. And it's throughout all of our offices. And that is something that we felt was really important. And I also just want to talk about Christensen Academy, because I think that is a memorable thing that has happened this year. And that is, with the pandemic, we had parents who couldn't be teachers as well as working and all of this kind of stuff. But particularly, we had single moms. And so we decided to create a little academy across the hall where kids could come and go to their virtual schools across the hall from where their parents were working. But we hired a teacher who could help them with their experience. And we had people, I think Cam is, 7? Or we have from 7 to 4th
grade, yeah,
across there. And it's just so wonderful to walk in and see how those kids are doing. And Jordan, who's the older guy, was not very interested in school. but I've heard him talk to his friends. They're like, hey, dude, you can do this. I'll help you. You can get online. It's just, you got to go to school, so it's been really interesting to see the progress of those kids across the hall. And I think that's something that I will feel very good about for the rest of our time, that we were able to provide that for our employees.
Yeah, I have not heard one single other place that has done that. And again, that's another thing that has set us apart from a lot of places, is, like Sarah was saying earlier, the care that we give to our staff and what they're going through. That Christensen Academy is a big thing. I mean, the single moms or the parents that have kids at home, that like they can't just leave their kids at home, so they're having, so many families are having to choose between working and educating their children this year. And with Dave and Leslie setting that up, it like opened that up for them. So they're like, I still have a place for my kid to go to have help, and I can still work. Like, so many people have not been fortunate with that, and that's just another testament. My future is just expanding on our new case management system. I mean, all of you guys know I've been working diligent and long hours to try to get this new system up and running to make our cases more thorough and advance our reporting and do all these things. And I've done a lot of the main big projects that we needed to be up and running, but I'm excited to see where we go from here as I do webinars with them when they make updates and have training, and then teaching everybody the things that they can use the system with. I mean, that I think is my big thing. And hopefully at some point getting us all back together in one place at the same time.
I am looking forward to us getting back into trial in the courtroom. I can't believe that it has been a year since I have stepped foot in the courtroom. On a personal note, I think that the last year has been super humbling for a lot of us. I think we have been presented in a lot of ways with our privilege, and I think that has spurned some of the nonprofit or the charitable efforts that we have seen explode across the office. In keeping with that, my goal, hopefully within the next year, so hopefully if we're doing a video for our next anniversary, it will have started, is to start a nonprofit for scholarships to get children therapy that they would not be able to otherwise get, either because of insurance prohibitions or financial constraints, because there are so many therapies out there that are available to kids with brain injuries, with hemispherectomy surgeries, and they could mean all the difference in the development for children. But if you can't afford to go, then you have lost an opportunity that is not, it's not your fault and it's not fair. So my goal is to start a nonprofit. I'm going to start small. I would like to next year send one kid to this intensive therapy program. And my name for it is Alistair's Sunrise Foundation. So that's my personal goal.
I agree with Sarah. This year has been really humbling, trying to navigate challenges of COVID and a new database system and a lot of other things that have come with change, but also look forward to growing with that change and improving processes and working on building on the foundation that we've been building for the last 7 years.
I would like to focus on growth, but growth in a controlled way. Growth in a way that doesn't, we keep the culture, growth in a way that we find the right people, and growth in a way that we don't need a huge office. We're not really looking at that. We'd like to keep it small, but grow the types of cases that we have. So working with the marketing people and accounting people to make sure that we do it in a way that doesn't affect the business that we have, but just grows it more.
For me, I think what I am really focused on, what we've been focused on for the past year, is preparing for the pandemic to be over and the courts to be open, and where are we going to be when that happens. And early on, we made a commitment, I made a commitment that we were going to be stronger at the end of this pandemic than we were at the beginning of the pandemic. And so we went about investing deeply into the pieces of the firm that needed to carry us forward. We changed you've heard about the computers. We've changed the foundation of how we do our work. We have a whole new platform in place that once we learn it, is going to carry us forward in a much more efficient way. We invest heavily into marketing, which we had never really done before at all. And we are seeing that beginning to bloom and prosper. And so to the point to where, I anticipate tremendous growth, and not so much in bodies necessarily as growth in the kinds of cases that we're going to be able to handle, kinds of clients we're going to be able to represent, and the people that we're going to be able to help. I think the number of them and the nature of the types of cases is really going to grow. It's going to change significantly for the better. And I think the rewards that Stephanie talks about of helping people who are really in the crisis of their life, we're going to be doing a lot more of that in the future. We look forward to that.
I just want to say, we have a special place here, and it's because of everyone. It's because of our staff and our attorneys, and all working really hard to make this place successful. No one is out for just themselves here, and it's so clear. And everyone cares not only about one another personally, but professionally. We all want each other to succeed, and that takes a special type of person. And every one of you is that person. We have such an amazing group of individuals with different backgrounds and different education levels and different experiences. And it takes all of us to make this amazing, wonderful place that we have. And our clients who are going through such, tragic situations and stressful situations, and, learning to live a life a new way. That's why we do all of this. We're just here to do our best to make people, even if we're just taking just a fraction of the stress away or the anxiety away, and help them through this process. That is why I do this, just to make things easier. So I just want to thank everyone for feeling the way I feel, and in terms of just, it's the overall picture of helping one another, helping our clients, and just continuing that tradition on into the future.
I just want to thank our clients for putting their trust in us. Without them, we wouldn't be here 7 years later. And I think that every single person who comes to us takes a leap of faith when they decide to hire an attorney and essentially put their future in our hands. So without them, this wouldn't be possible, and we love and appreciate all of them.
I would just like to thank our clients as well. Our motto is listen, protect, win. And we mean it. We want to listen to our clients, protect them from all of the harm that has been done for them, and win for them a new life. It won't be the life that they had before, but it can be a better life than they would have expected otherwise.
I would like to thank all of Christensen Law. Every single one of us has had a part in making so many people's lives a little bit better, a little bit easier, ease some pain following a car accident or any other injury. And thank you to Dave and Leslie for following your dream and giving us all an amazing place to work and giving us the opportunity to help people.
As a team, we exist for each other, and that's true beyond the five of us, to all 16 or 17 team members. And our important priority is to take care of one another and make this a really great place to work. And so I want to thank all of you and everybody on the Christensen Law team for making this a great place to work, and all of the clients that we are able to serve. I'm just very grateful. It's very rewarding to be able to help somebody heal and help somebody become prepared to face the rest of their life with their newfound reality, following their accident. And I'm so grateful when, somebody comes to us and entrusts us with this responsibility, and we take it very seriously. So I'm grateful for the clients.